Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to today's Infopedia web conference. You've joined us for Managing Call Quality. We're finishing a few last-minute preparations for our session. We'll be getting started in just a few minutes, so go ahead and sit back, relax, and we'll be back with you shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to today's Infopedia web conference. You've joined us for the final session in the Skype Operations Framework webcast series. Today's session is titled Managing Call Quality. We are broadcasting this web conference via Skype meeting broadcast, and the audio can be heard through your PC speakers. Today's web conference is being recorded on behalf of the Microsoft Corporation. If you do not consent to being part of a recorded session, we ask that you please disconnect your browser at this time. Attendees may access the web conference recording via a link that will be delivered within 72 hours post-conference. You may ask a question at any time using the Q&A panel. That's going to be located either to the right of your screen or by scrolling down to just below the video pane. Our presenter is going to be responding to your questions throughout the presentation and again at the end of the presentation during formal Q&A. Last but not least, if you experience any technical difficulties during today's web conference, first try refreshing your web browser by pressing the F5 key. If that doesn't work for you, you'll want to go ahead and click on the support link at the top right corner of your browser. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get started with our session. Presenting for us today from Microsoft, we have Senior Customer Engineering Architect, Martin Renas. Martin, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Janice. Hello. Thank you for attending today's Skype Academy session on the Skype Operations Framework. Today's session will be focused on managing call quality. Real quick about me. My name is Martin Renas, and I'm an architect on the Customer Experience and Deployment team. I'm on the team that develops the Skype Operations Framework, and I'm also currently applying SOF to a number of Skype for Business deployments. Hopefully you were able to attend Lester's excellent overview of SOF and what it is all about during the first Skype Academy session. If not, I do strongly encourage you to review this recording. At the end of the day, through SOF, we are providing guidance to plan, deliver, and operate Skype for Business. To learn more, please visit skypeoperationsframework.com. Feedback is critical to the continued development and success of SOF. Please do take the time to share your feedback. As you consume SOF, let us know what is working and what needs improvement. Your feedback will help us to improve future releases of SOF. Just a quick disclaimer, this is a 1.0 version of this training. As we continue to iterate, some of the material referenced in this training will probably change. So for those that view this training as a recording in the future, you may find some details are not identical to the training recording. When we have significant updates, we will look to update the training as needed, but please keep this in mind. And I do have a real example for this already. I will share some new features available in CQD Online that are not yet documented in the 1.0 version of the downloadable document. Now on today's session on operations managing call quality. Please note that you can use the Q&A panel to ask questions through today's session, and we will be collecting those questions and answering at the end of the session. As you can see, the service health activity takes place during the report stage of SOF, which is part of the operations phase. SOF has the concept of various activities that you perform to achieve a certain outcome. In plan and deliver, you will most likely execute each activity once while moving through all stages and phases to enable and deliver a service to your users. You might repeat parts of this process, for example, to deploy a new workload or onboard a new part of your organization. With activities in the operate phase, this is slightly different. We follow the same concept of stages and assets within each stage, but in most cases, you will repeatedly execute those activities to ensure that the service is being delivered at the expected quality to the users. Just think of support as an example here. It is unlikely that you'll be able to solve all problems that your users eventually might have and never ever will have a help desk call again. It's more the case that you will constantly execute the support processes that are required here. So what is managing call quality? Ensuring that users receive a high-quality service is really important to deliver the envisioned value to the business. Low service quality, low call quality will likely result in a low or no usage of the service and over time putting the project success at risk. Successfully delivering real-time communication services has its own set of challenges and requirements, with network readiness playing a big part in it. Skype for Business has capabilities to deliver great audio quality to end users, and processes can mitigate many circumstances that lead to degradation of the user's experience. Regardless of that, you should understand those circumstances and remediate them to further improve the call quality. What are the prerequisites before we can start to manage call quality? It's expected that you've already enabled your users or really are in the process of enabling them right now. We need access to the call quality dashboard, CQD, and to do so, it is required that you have administrative access to the Skype for Business Admin Center in Office 365. Please make sure that you are a member of the Skype for Business Admin role or the Global Administrator role in Office 365. You will be using the call quality dashboard to understand call quality. It is required that you have enabled the call quality dashboard for your Skype for Business online tenant. Also, you should have uploaded subnet mapping information to enable CQD to identify managed from unmanaged networks. For more information how to enable CQD and how to upload this mapping data, please see the Configuring Call Quality Dashboard recording that is available on Skype Academy on skypeoperationsframework.com. Also, you will be reporting on calls made by your users. It is required that users are already using the platform and place calls or participate in conferences for at least a couple of days, as it takes 1 or 2 days for the data to show up in CQD. While implementing this process, what is actually the outcome of managing call quality? It's really there to establish this ongoing process of assert, achieve, and maintain. This really should be seen not as a one-time activity, but rather this will become of your regular operations routine. To me, this is similar to security. It's not a state that you can achieve, but it's more on operations mode or a process you enter. CQD is a tool that will help you to drive audio call quality improvements and to achieve your business goals. Let's talk about these 3 areas a bit more. We have assert, in which we will review the data, as well as identify hot topics. For example, which areas are performing better, or in which areas do we have problems. Then there's achieve, where we will analyze specific scenarios. We will define and take actions. We will also verify the impact of any changes. Were we able to achieve improvement for that particular area by the actions we've taken? And then finally, there's maintain, which is the continuous monitoring to make sure that we have stability in our call quality. Again, the network and everything surrounding is not static. Things will constantly change. Users will move. Usage behavior might change. There will be changes in the network and in the configuration. All of that needs to be monitored to make sure that we are still delivering a high quality to our end users. Now, let's talk about the influencing factors that have an impact on the media quality. First, we need to understand that the device that people are using is really important. Good quality capturing and rendering devices like microphones, speakers, headsets, video cameras are essential for users to have a good quality experience. Equally important are device drivers. Lack of quality will negatively impact the overall user experience. The Skype for Business certification program ensures that USB devices and PCs offer rich audio and video quality and supporting features that provide both a great end-user experience and admin experience. Please visit the personal peripherals and PCs in the solutions catalog to learn more. And a note here, please do not use the integrated devices. In most cases, those really do not provide a high-quality media stream. And this also includes everything that is connected to the PC's line-in or microphone connector. Those devices will very likely lead to poor audio quality. Specifically, the input, the microphone, in most cases won't perform very well. The next big bucket is the network performance. Once the media, like audio, has been captured on the sender side, it has to be transferred over to the receiver for rendering with as little network impact as possible. Network latency, like delay and jitter, packet loss, and available throughput will have an impact on media quality. There is a dedicated session or a number of sessions on network performance and how to measure and prepare for network out there. Please visit them on skypeoperationsframework.com. Also, we need to take care about the environment. The environment also might have an impact on the media quality. In some cases, technology can help, but user awareness and education is often the best remediation. In a noisy room, headset with acoustic noise cancellation will mitigate and maybe even eliminate environmental noise. At the same time, if you're on a video call and there's a bright light source just like behind you, just think of the sun, you might be sending a high quality stream of your shadow. As everything that the camera can capture is really just the shadow of you with all the light coming in. This is an example where user awareness and training can help, because in those type of environments, there's only so much we can do with technology. Let's briefly talk about the network requirements a bit more. This slide is taken from the Network Readiness Assessment. Again, if you want to learn more about this topic, please review the material and training available on skypeoperationsframework.com that covers this in much more detail. These network performance goals should be met to guarantee high media quality. There are two columns in this chart. One is covering the connection from your client up to the Office 365 network, and the second one is covering the connection from your internet access to the Office 365 network. For the context of this presentation, we are really interested in the first set of requirement, which is covering all the way from the client PCs up to the managed network, up to the Office 365 network. And this entire section really should deliver the highlighted performance goals there to make sure that your users are receiving a good quality. Now, let's see how we can use CQD to measure all the quality and to understand how our network and the deployment all up is performing. You can access CQD by opening the Office 365 portal, navigating to the Skype for Business Admin Center, and selecting Skype for Business Online Call Quality Dashboard, which is a really long way, but there's also a shortcut. You can easily open it by navigating to https://cqd.lync.com. You'll be prompted to sign in, and you should have access to CQD right away. If you haven't done so, please review the Deploy Configuring Call Quality Dashboard to monitor your Skype for Business online environment document in the Deliver phase of Skype for Business of SOF for more information. There are a couple of summary reports available. After CQD has been provisioned to you and you log into the Call Quality Dashboard, you will be presented with a set of summary reports. Summary reports offer a high level of overview of audio call quality for your deployment. Reports show number of good, poor, and unclassified audio streams, as well as poor call percentage. Hovering with the mouse over any given column will give you some more information for that specific time period. To give you more historical context, the data is visualized in monthly and daily reports. Summary reports are divided into 4 sections. There's the overall call quality, provides a summary view of all audio streams, as well as high-level view of server to client and client to client audio streams. The next tab, server to client, provides all streams running from the server to the client. Grouped by location, which is inside and outside your network, and then network connectivity, which is wired and wireless. You can think of the server in this context as the Skype for Business online media endpoints. Each group will also provide subnet information. An example of scenario resulting in the server to client audio streams is Skype for Business desktop client participating in an audio meeting. The next tab, client to client, provides client to client audio streams grouped by location, again inside and outside, and network connectivity, wired and wireless. Each group will also provide subnet information. An example of scenario resulting in the client to client audio streams is a peer-to-peer call, where Skype for Business desktop client is using audio to talk to another Skype for Business desktop client. And then the last one, Voice Quality SLA, shows the performance of eligible calls against the Voice Quality SLA. For more information on the Voice Quality SLA, please visit akms/Voice Quality SLA. Please note, all audio streams will be grouped and classified as outside until IP subnet mapping has been uploaded. IP subnet mapping information will instruct CQT to differentiate between inside and outside subnets. Now, the summary report is good, but in most of the cases, we are more interested in the detailed reports. On the top ribbon of CQD, you can switch to the detailed reports view. Detailed reports provide additional detail about audio call quality for your Skype for Business online tenant. A set of built-in reports is provided, but you are encouraged to create new reports to meet your specific needs. You can accomplish this by using the CQD query editor. In addition, you can also export and import report definitions to reuse or share them as required. Don't worry, creating new reports is really easy. You don't have to use any of the tools we all know and love for SQL reporting services. I'll walk you through this in the rest of the presentation. The stacked bars show the count for good, unclassified, and poor streams. This part of the diagram helps you to understand usage trends. The call quality trend is shown by the line representing poor stream percentage. Hovering with the mouse over any given column will give you some more information on that specific time period. Use the top-level diagram to identify signals and trends, areas that need improvement, as well as an entry point for further investigation. Like, look at this report. After all time, poor stream ratio is percentage low in February 2016. We see an upward trend in July 2016. This would warrant an investigation. Let's do this. What we're going to do is we're going to click on all audio streams heading of this report to drill down into the next level of the reporting tree. This diagram represents the default first 3 levels of the CQD online reporting tree structure. Each box in the diagram represents report, audio stream grouping based on a specific scenario. There are, on the SubReport level, there are two buckets, managed and unmanaged. The managed report contains audio streams between wired clients on internal networks and the server in the cloud, and other wired clients on internal networks. This should be the first area to assess and improve, as you will have close to full control over the managed network. The managed network is your corporate network, including all wired connection and the managed wide area network like your MPLS cloud. You have close to full control over this network and configuration. Now, what about Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi is a bit a tricky one here. To consider Wi-Fi as a managed network in this context, in the context of UC and VoIP, it requires the Wi-Fi to be designed and implemented as a VoIP network and not just as a data network. The unmanaged report contains audio streams made by clients on wireless networks, public networks, or home networks. Some amount of poor streams is expected. However, a worsening trend of poor call warrants investigation. If subnet mapping is not uploaded into the summary reports portal, all calls will be show up in the unmanaged report. Below managed and unmanaged report, there are a number of drill-down scenario reports, like client-to-server, client-to-client connection, using different connection types. So let's go back to the report. We've opened the drill-down report and now have the drill-down report for managed and unmanaged. What we see here is a server-to-client inside wired, and client inside wired to client inside wired reports. Breaking managed reports into this way provides better insight into problematic scenarios. The first report, server to client inside wired, provides an insight into audio conference calls and the quality for clients that are inside the wired and wired connected. Higher poor call percentage rate typically reflects problems between the customer corporate network and the Skype for Business online data center. The second report, client inside wired to client inside wired, provides an insight into peer-to-peer audio call quality when both clients are inside and wired connected. Higher poor call percentage rate typically reflects some internal customers' corporate network problems. Server to client inside wired reports shows a sharp increase in call percentage rate starting in April 2016. This warrants further investigation. Similarly, the other client inside wired to client inside wired indicates a steady increase in poor call percentage rate starting in March. This also warrants further investigation. With two or maybe more problematic scenarios, which should be addressed first? It really depends without knowing more. It depends, and without knowing more details, such as business priorities, purely based on reported numbers, conferencing scenarios on the left might be higher priority to a much higher call volume and higher poor calls percentage rate. Use an iterative approach to review, investigate, and remediate all managed scenarios before shifting the focus to unmanaged scenarios. Remember, in the managed network, you are expected to have much more control over the entire network, while on the unmanaged network, we only might have little control. Driving call quality improvements must be part of regular operations process. On a regular cadence, which might be daily or weekly, your operations team should be looking at the CQD report signals. Signal indicates an event that causes some positive or negative changes. Increase in poor call percentage rate is arguably negative change, where sharp increase in call volume will likely indicate a positive change. Regardless of this nature, signals should be investigated. You should be able to explain signals. For example, correlate recent user service enablement to increase in call volume. When CQD indicates numbers of different signals, we need to prioritize. Priority order will likely be different between deployments, but typical business priorities will drive stack ranking. After IP subnet mapping data has been uploaded, common approach is to pivot investigations on building or locations. Why is one building performing better than another? CQD is a great tool to drive investigations, as it will allow to dissect problems to the point where it is obvious. This doesn't mean CQD will pinpoint exact root cause of the problem, but will narrow the surface area significantly. CQD is an important tool in the call quality methodology framework, but not the only one. For example, after a problem is narrowed down to a specific IP subnet, network administrators will likely use some of the traditional networking tools to narrow down the problem even further and find the root cause. Once the root cause has been identified, a remediation plan should be created and executed. The remediation typically can take some time, depending on the nature of the problem. This should not take your focus to stop from using CQD. Remember, CQD will be part of your regular operations process, so this is really the point where you go back to the beginning of the process, look for new signals, investigate, and remediate. Another topic that needs discussion is goals or targets. Targets should be set early on, but they are not written in stone. Targets should be realistic and will change over the time. If poor call percentage rate in server to client wired report is, let's say, 8%, think about a long-term goal, but set some near-term realistic target. Maybe reaching 5% is achievable in the next 3 months. Based on your assessment, set a target and drive your remediation towards the target. If in 3 months' time you have hit or overachieved your target, well done. You are ready to set a new target, and that takes you closer to your ultimate goal. If you're still above your initial target, review the situation and come up with a new plan and or target. In the end, the improvements you are making should reflect in overall user satisfaction and increase in usage and adoption. So that's all great, but let's make this real and walk through a specific example. We've identified an increase in the poor call percentage starting in April for the connections from the server to client inside wired audio streams. Let's go a step further to find the worst performing IP subnet, which is a subnet with the largest poor call percentage rate. To do that, we will create a new report that fits this particular need. Click on the Add SubReport menu option to create a new subreport. This will effectively create a child report of your parent report. If report title is blue and if the report title is already blue and a clickable link, it means that at least one sub or child report has already been created. After the subreport has been created, it will be opened in a new page. This new child report is an identical copy of your parent report. At this point, you can change the child report, but it is actually a good practice to use this particular as a reference for other reports you would like to create. For that reason, you should clone this report instead by clicking on the clone menu link. By doing this, a new cloned report will be created. The cloned report is an identical copy of the original, with the title only being the minor difference. To change the clone report to meet your needs, select the Edit menu. This will open the query editor. This is the query editor built into CQD. No more need to use different tools to author and publish reports. It's all web-based and very easy to use. The editor shows a preview of the report along with the editor features themselves. The left pane is used to modify the content of the report. What data should be shown in which way? CQD uses the concept of dimensions, measurements, and filters to define the data that should be shown. But what are dimensions, measurements, and filters? What's that? Well, let me walk you through this real quick. The dimension will allow you to group your data. You can have one or more dimensions, like month, year. This dimension are common as they provide breakdown of data per time period. To add a new dimension, click on the plus sign next to the dimension and then search for the dimension. You can select and deselect or remove dimensions in this way. In our example, we will be adding the audio stream second subnet as a new dimension. The measurement will allow you to select the data that you would like to see in the report. You can have one or more measurements. Good, poor, unclassified audio stream count as well as poor audio percentage are the most popular measures. To add a new one, click on the plus sign next to the measurements and then search for it. You can also select and deselect and remove measurements in this way. The filter will allow you to further narrow down the data being returned. Filters are extensively used to create audio stream grouping or scenarios. See the scenario pair filter in this example. You can also have more than one filter, in which case logical AND is used between all of them. So in our case, it's really that we want to show me the measurements where the filters are applied, grouped by the dimensions. This is really the concept of dimensions, measurements, and filter used in CQD. There's one more detail I'd like to highlight and walk you through. You might have noticed that we've selected the audio stream second subnet as dimension. Why is it called second subnet? So a stream consists of two endpoints. We can't preview on the source and destination at the same time. This would pretty much screw up our reports. So which one should we pick? This is where we've introduced the concept of first and second. As a rule of thumb, you can think of first always being the server and second is always the client. This is why in our reports, in most of the cases, we're going to use second as a data point, as we want to pivot around the client's location. Then there are a few of special scenarios. If both endpoints are the server, the lower user agent type goes first. If both endpoints are client, caller is the first and callee is the second. If you want to learn more about this, Jens has a nice blog post, which is here as a reference, that has much more information about this. So let's go back to the report definition and finish our report here. We've updated our report to show the second subnet as an additional dimension. The report can be visualized as a chart or a table. You can also show data over a period of time, which is a trend, or only for the current month. If table and trend is selected, this show sparkline can be used to further enhance visualization. You also, in some cases, need to make the report wider by specifying the width. As you are making changes to the report definition, you can see the report in preview. The table report preview, you can sort table by specific column by clicking on the column header. You can also apply further visualization filters by typing in text or regular expressions in the below column header. For example, if you want to show only streams where a number of good streams has more than 3 digits, you would type a 0 to 9 in square brackets and this 3 times. This is a good way to focus on groups with significant number of streams. It allows you to filter out groups with low number of streams that might be statistically insignificant and focus on groups that are contributing most to the overall numbers. Finally, don't forget to change the report title and description. And that's really it. We've just updated the existing report to show the next level of detail we've been looking for. So to close that one, we will just make those changes and hit the Save and Exit Query Editor. The resulting report now shows the top offending subnets. At this point, you can create additional reports to slice and dice the data even further. For example, you could filter on specific subnet and look for client types that are causing most of the problems. But you also can engage your networking teams to start a specific subnet investigation. You will likely need to look at configuration of various network elements along the path to identify the root cause. As a best practice, focus on a single or a few subnets in the same building or office to start troubleshooting. Once that is solved, check if the same solution will work for other areas too. Questions to ask are we seeing packet loss on those network segments? Is quality of service set up end-to-end on those areas? If so, what are the queues? Are the queues healthy, or are they starting to drop packets based on congestion? What is the status of the WAN connection to that office? Is the segment, office, or building following the global standards for network devices? And if that's available, are they adhering to the global master configuration of the network devices? Those are the type of things that the network team and yourself will be working on to identify what's causing the issues. Remember this circle? Well, this is the last time I bring it up. So we walked through the assert and build. We walked through the assert phase and built a drill down report to identify worst performing subnet in a particular scenario, which is server to client or wired inside. Now, after that, you've entered the achieve phase. In our particular example, we will work with the network team to identify what is causing the poor calls in this area of the network, which allows us to achieve the quality. After that, you will enter the maintain phase, which is really the ongoing monitoring. Driving call quality improvements will be part of your regular operations process. On a regular cadence, daily or weekly, your operations team really should be looking at CQD report signals. Signals indicate an event that causes some positive or negative change. So at the beginning, I was talking about that I'm going to share some new capabilities that just light up in CQD Online. Some of them are in the detailed reports. We now have support for video application sharing and VBSS, the video-based screen sharing report data. We also have support and provide data for real-time media reliability, which is set up as well as mid-call media issues. Also on the side of the upload for building mapping data, we now have support for supernetting, which makes it easier to upload the data. And also we are now able to identify duplicate mappings. The input format now also might be a CSV file format. So to close this session, it's really, in summary, what we talked about is that managing call quality is an ongoing process. It is not something that you'll do just once. You will start with the managed networks first, as you have the most control over those areas of the network. We will identify the top offenders to identify which areas are causing the most problems and work from there on. CQD is a great tool that provides a lot of data to support all of these activities. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Janice again.
All right, thank you, Martin. All right, audience, we're going to be starting our Q&A in just a moment, but if you'd like to ask a question, go ahead and type your question into the white text box located either to the right or below the video playing. Before we do that, though, if you've not already found it, I'd like to bring your attention to a link on the upper right-hand side of the viewing window that says, please take a short survey. That's a link to a short survey for this web conference, and we ask that you please take a moment before logging out to access it. We hope that you found today's information helpful, and if you enjoyed today's web conference or have feedback on how we can provide you with a better event, this is your chance to let us know. The survey scores are on a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest score possible. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Martin to answer any questions that are out there. Martin, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Janice. So there's one question. If there is a repository of common record queries that we can get so that we can quickly build out some of pre-canned reports. Well, We don't have all besides the reports that are available with the tool. There are no other pre-canned reports available, but all the pre-canned reports that are available on the tool will help you to identify the most common areas or the hot topics that you have, and from there it's really easy to create a sub-report to see what's going on there. So there's another question. When the supernetting capability becomes available, well, it is available already. I think the feature is available since, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks since this date. So it will be available. It should be available since the middle of July. So with that, I think I don't see any. Oh, there's one more question coming in. So there's a question. If our CQD implementation, the current CQD implementation, does not support supernetting, I think the support is there. So if you're encountering any problems, maybe you can contact us via email, and then we'll see what we can do there. So with that, I think we're gonna close this call and hand it over to Janice. Thanks for staying with us.
All right, thanks, Martin. All right, audience, that's going to conclude today's web conference. Attendees may access the web conference recording via a link that will be delivered within 72 hours via email. I'd like to extend a big thank you to our presenter, Martin Reines, and thank you, audience, for logging in and joining us today. You may now disconnect from the broadcast.